Welcome to episode 9 of the eNVy podcast. Today's guest is one of the first people from the Greek game dev community I ever met in person. He is the director of eNVy Softworks, Vasilis Karavasilis. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Again.
Again. Nice to be, actually not nice to meet you, nice to be invited. And it was nice meeting you when I first met you, like, I don't know, a billion years ago.
I mean, it's been like 3 years now, something like that.
3 years, yeah. But it was an interesting surprise because, like, I always have a rough spot, let's say, for people that write about games, and you were a very, very, very interesting, like, exception to the rule.
Happy to hear that. So let's start from the beginning. What would you say was your first game that make you think, okay, I want to become a game dev?
Good question. To be honest, I never actually had like a game that made me realize that exactly. But in retrospect, I realized that Gothic 2 played a huge role in me wanting to make games. For people that don't know what that is, it's a German RPG from the early 2000s, early mid 2000s. But like they did a few things that very few RPGs did since, even though it was like open world in the 2000s, but it was like more focused on letting you explore and figuring things out yourself without markers, without quests. Then strictly, there had a lot of like freedom when it comes to exploration and solving puzzles, and like kind of loved that. And it was one of the first like games that I actually made me gave me enough inspiration to want to make my own worlds. Let's say worlds.
That's a different experience from the Gothic 2, I remember.
Really?
I have a really funny story about Gothic 2. I was late school, like perhaps high school, I don't remember. But it was one of my first trips abroad with family. And for a long time, because my aunt works abroad, so for years we visited wherever she worked at the time, so because otherwise we barely saw her. And those trips were like during summer school trips, so it took around a month. We stayed wherever, and I was trying to play some games around any of those times and find some new games. And funnily enough, when we were around in a supermarket store, they also sold video games, and I found Gothic 2, and I was like, okay, I love RPGs, this seems like a cool thing, let's try it out. I never, for the life of me, could get past the tutorial combat. I tried like hours, couldn't get past it, and I end up selling it to some friend at some point.
Okay. It did have a very steep learning curve. It was very hard to get into. That's true. Like I get it.
Yeah. So, when did you start eNVy Softworks?
9 years ago in 2 months. So 8 years and 10 months.
So 2015? No, 2017. My maths are wrong.
2017, yeah. 2017, we started the actual company, but we were kind of a, unofficial studio / thing for like 3 or 4 more years before that. So like 2013 was the first time the name eNVy Softworks was uttered.
Mm-hmm. Based on a bit of a research I tried to do on your website and other media, despite your first game that we'll touch upon a bit, Basements and Basilisks, being out on 2023, as you said, you had you were available online and you had a company since way earlier than that. And I found out that you had a video made in 2019 from COVID about a lot of prototypes and stuff that you were working on. Funnily enough, most of them were VR based. So can you talk us a bit about that period of you prototyping and what you were trying around that time?
Yeah, the thing is that so the main issue when you have a studio in Greece, and you probably know this from other people as well, is that funding is very scarce, and most people have to bootstrap it, right? And if you don't have like personal funds or family funds or other ways of getting funding, your main mode of survival is doing odd jobs and taking contracts from people to do games. And usually, I say games, but they usually are not like strictly games. They usually are like experiences that have similar technologies with games. Like you make them in a game engine, but they're usually educational stuff for especially in Greece for archaeological sites and museums, stuff that are focused like on culture mostly. And a lot of these things are VR and AR. A lot of these things. So very early on, when we started, like in 2017, we were one of the 4 studios in the whole of Greece that actually were able to make VR experiences. We were just 4 studios that could make VR experiences. It was us, it was Vira, it was another Circus, and was on Skal up in Thessaloniki. So we were just like those 4 VR studios. So we had a lot of jobs that were like VR educational stuff. And since the VR, it was just when the VR era started to become commercial. It was like the first Oculus, like the first Rift. Not even we're not in the Meta era. We're not talking about stuff like that. So we don't talk about Quest or whatever. We're talking about like full headset with sensors on the wall and plugged into your computer. The old school, let's say, VR thing. And it was a very small market still for games. So we were thinking that, yeah, maybe it's a good opportunity, right? Maybe we can get in there. Maybe we can actually make games for a market that is very, very lacking still. So we did a lot of prototypes, actually very advanced prototypes in some parts. They were like, our side was pretty on point. They were very like workable. They had like systems and to test like the waters, but we never had enough money to actually finish the games. So we tried to find some funding, but no one actually gave money to VR games. That's what we realized later on. Like VR games funding was abysmal. People didn't fund or didn't publish VR games a lot. So we never managed to actually get any of these games off the ground, despite having like pretty advanced prototypes. And we actually showcased them a lot on a lot of conventions and conferences, stuff like that, in Greece and abroad. People that joined them, but still we didn't have like the necessary funds to actually complete them. So we went back to missionary work, let's say, and then when we had the opportunity to work on a prototype, we did that. And then again, and then again, and then again. And at some point, VR fell out of favor, like pretty much entirely. And we were also like, yeah, that it's very hard to do. It's very frustrating to do. Also, if you've ever made anything in VR, oh my god, the whole thing of putting on the mask and checking if something is working, now taking the mask off, and then putting in the mask again, and oh no, I'm sitting in my desk, so the lighthouses, the sensors aren't properly working because I'm very close to them, or I'm very far off them, or the screen is in front of them, or I don't know what. So it was a very, very, very frustrating experience. We're like, no, well, we're gonna move on and just like make PC games, smaller games, faster games.
So from around 2017, when you officially started the company, to this reel in 2019, uh, did you from the start aspire to create your own video games, or did it start mostly as let's take the jobs and we'll see how it goes from there?
So we always wanted to make our own games from day one, from before day one even. We actually released a game in 2016 for mobile called Death and Beyond, but it was a mobile game. It was free to play. It was very small, but it's not even available anymore. That was our actual first finished, kinda, let's say, finished game. Even 1 year before starting the company. But yeah, we always wanted to just make games. But then, out of some luck, let's say, because someone appeared out of nowhere and asked us if we could make a game for hire for him, because he needed an educational game about learning Italian. It actually was for a publishing house to add on a CD with an Italian book. And it was then that we realized that, oh wait, people need games for other reasons as well, not only for having fun, not only games for commercial games for entertainment. So people need educational games as well, and that's a way of actually making money. It's more reliable, more stable way of making revenue. So that's how pretty much how we started the company. We got a few jobs like that out of nowhere in a very short amount of time, one after another, and then we said, yeah, we should do that, and then use that money to actually make it help ourselves survive, so we can start making games. That went way worse than expected, but because that takes a lot of time, and the market in Greece is terrible. Let's say you need 1,000, to make something. The best deal you're probably gonna get is around 500. So yeah. So not only did we not make a surplus of money in order to make our own games, usually we barely survived, or even put our own money in order to be able to finish these projects and get bigger ones. And then, at some point, it's kind of big combination of luck and persistence that we were able to push through and survive 9 years now.
Mm-hmm. And also in that prototype reel, outside of all the VR games, you had the multiplayer game as well, similar to what's called Overcooked, but in a house. That's vastly different from all the VR projects you were working at the time. Can you talk a bit behind what was the thought process behind this one?
Yeah, we made that in a game jam. So for people that don't know, game jams are you close yourselves in a room for a couple of days, for 48 hours, and then you have to make a game under a common theme in these 48 hours. Usually people, get assets from here and there, but we usually do everything from scratch. And we were huge in game jams during the 6-7 first years, on 5-6 first years of the company. We were taking part in Global Game Jam every year, and we're actually also the organizer of the Global Game Jam here in Patras. So we were also organizing it as well as taking part in it, and we were making a prototype pretty much every year in Global Game Jam. Then we did Ludum Dare once. We've taken part in many game jams, and then that year the theme was family. Oh no, not family. What home means to you. That was the theme, and we decided to make a local multiplayer for person. No, actually, it was not local multiplayer. It was true multiplayer, server-based multiplayer for people kind of beat 'em up thingy, where you played the members of a family, and you were doing chores around the house, but you were trying to do the most chores, so no one else in the house could say anything like, "Oh, you're not working around the house, or you're not helping." So you were trying to be the most helpful around, and if you could beat up the other people around the house by throwing plates at them, or the basket with the clothes or something like that. Yeah, so that was the general idea. I think.
So for you, home means chores.
Yeah,
and beating people up.
Beating up our family, yeah, right? Not a toxic environment at all. I think we named it Family Matters. I think the name. But it was a game jam game. It's totally different from the other ones, but it was interesting. Like the thing we're doing with eNVy, and that's what we've always been doing, and I think that's what we always want to do. It's to not get ourselves too much into a box, let's say, and always try to do weird experimental stuff in some way. Doesn't have to be all the ways, but we could either have like an experimental art style, or an experimental mechanic, or an experimental storytelling technique, or whatever.
How many people are you in the team?
Currently 5.
And were you the same 5 that started it, or
No.
was it started for with how many people did it start?
4.
And so what I'm trying to see here is what type of expertises, let's say, do you have around the team on a permanent basis?
So, well, the structure of the company changed like a lot of times. We've been through rough patches, obviously, both on a personal and a financial level. At some points, it's hard to sustain a team if you don't have solid funding for a long time, right? So you do changes all the time. But like the disciplines we have around the company usually pretty much don't change. We have one of each. Let's just say that we have like an artist. Currently, we have more of a focus on 2D, so we don't have 3D artists currently, but we have a 2D artist / concept artist / illustrator / pretty much everything concerning 2D art. We have a game designer that also does programming, but mostly when needed to. But he's a game designer. Then we have me that technically, like, I'm a programmer, but I do pretty much everything concerning production. I do everything concerning business development. I do marketing. I do programming, obviously. I dabble a little game design and narrative. I do a lot of things.
You do the best of PR, public relations, and programming.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying my best in general, so yeah, I'm doing my best. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So after this reel in 2019 with all these games, you released Basements and Basilisks in 2023. So we have a 4-year gap. We have a pandemic in between. We have everything. So out of all the projects you've been working on at the time, when did Basements and Basilisks start to be the idea, and why this particular game?
Okay, so
out of all the projects.
Yeah, sure. Basement and Basilisk started as a very different game. Like it was something totally different. It was a tactical roguelike when it started. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was tactical roguelike. Same concept, general idea. The antagonist was pretty much the DM, the dungeon master, the basement master, the BM. Sorry. So you were like running through dungeons that were like kind of procedurally generated, but it was the idea that you have like this big evil force that alters things in real time, and then you're trying to either batter him up and get bonuses, or enrage him and get more challenges. So that was like the general idea of BNB when it started. And we tried prototyping stuff around that, and then we realized how hard that is and how much time it needed, how much focus it needed. And we didn't really yet have like any experience with, had lots of experience actually with roguelikes or like tactical games. So it needed a lot of game design expertise we didn't necessarily have. So it actually made it really hard for us to make it without proper time and funding, because at the same time we were doing a lot of freelance work. And during the pandemic, I think it was our most like active time doing freelance and doing other projects. So we only had like Basements and Basilisks on the side, and then we were doing a lot of work for others. And it was the time we had like the largest team. I think we were like 11 people at that point. And at some point we realized that, and we're like, okay, let's do a prologue to that game. Let's make a story-based game. Let's make a visual novel, pretty much, that leads into Basements and Basilisks. We were calling it Tales from Caltrium back then. And we started doing that just to take something out there, because we were around for already 6 years or something, and we hadn't released any games yet, right? We had a very bad experience with a particular partner, with a game that we almost released, and we lost a lot of money there. That's a totally different story, but it was during the pandemic times, and we needed to get something out there. And we were like, okay, so BNB is not happening anytime soon in the form we actually want it to be. So let's just focus on finishing the intro, the story thingy, to actually introduce people to the concept and the world. So we focused on that, finished that, and finished. That's a big leap saying that BNB is finished, but it's an experience that has a start, a middle, and an end. I wouldn't say it's like a finished game. It ends on a cliffhanger, but it lets us, possibly add more episodes in the future. But we forced ourselves to finish it at any point that we could actually ship and get it out there to start learning how you actually ship games and figure out how Steam works and what it means to have a game out there, and start generating some sort of revenue. We're still getting money from that, right? 3 years later, and we still get, I don't know.
It is a good game.
Couple of dollars a month. Thank you.
I really liked it. I have told you as such, both privately and in public. I really dig that game. I only wish it was
bigger.
An hour bigger. I don't ask for much, I believe. I don't ask for 20 hours worth of branching storyline or whatever. I just think if it was just slightly bigger, it would really help it. But it was really good for the snippet that it was. And since you mentioned already that it's been 3 years since then, have you thought about it in retrospective, how this project affected you, the team, how it came out?
No, it's actually, I was hearing of people saying that all the time, in GDC talks and interviews and stuff like that, saying that, shipping a game is 90% of the work, and it's very different. Even if you have a finished game, if you didn't ship it, you haven't learned everything there is to learn. And that's pretty true. You learn a lot of stuff when you get a game out there. You start learning what Steam really can do, what Steam means, how to interact with people that play your games, what people think what you're making, and many, I wouldn't expect to invoke such strong emotions with games we make, positive or negative, but you get strong emotions from people, which is very interesting. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons I like making games. It's to see people react to the ideas I have. That's one of the things I always wanted to see. But now when you see it, and then you say very, very strong emotions, even if that's I hated it, it was the worst experience of my life, I don't know what, it's funny. It's funny to see that. We had a guy that played the game and left a negative review that had probably never played a visual novel before, right? So he played the whole game, and he was like, this game is atrocious. It has a never-ending intro. It just never gets into gameplay. Just people talking. And I was like, yeah. That's what it's supposed to be. I do not recommend it. But it was very funny to me, right? In retrospect, it was a good move, because then it started shifting the company from we need to do bigger things and we need to find funding to finish games, to okay, let's make whatever, just ship it, let's see how it works, and then let's start figuring out how to do that more often, faster, stuff like that. Still, we haven't perfected this, because that still requires some money, far less than it would require to do bigger things, but we're getting there, let's say.
And mentioning it being faster, you still took 2 years to release the next one, which was a surprise for me. I don't remember you actually actively promoting this before it actually came out, or a month before it came out. So I didn't even know there was a collab that you did at the time. I'm talking about Hidden Hijinks, No Cuts in the Orgy, Please, which is essentially hidden object game that you made in collaboration with arguably one of the most well-known Greek comic book artists, Ilias Kyriazis. Can you talk us a bit about when this idea started and how the
Yeah,
contact with Ilias came to be?
yeah. So how we met during the weirdest possible time in a very weird way, but it was
Oh,
you
I
probably know
think
what I'm talking about.
I think I know what. Okay,
At some point there was a controversy, let's say.
okay, yeah, I know what you're
Uh,
talking about.
and back then we took a very public stance against discrimination, let's say, and against homophobia. And because of that, we somehow ended on the bad side of a particular person, particular public person. But it wasn't just me and Elias. Was a lot of people, and we just ended in a group chat. There were some pretty famous people in that group chat. It was very funny. It was like there were some very not famous people and some very famous people in that group chat. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in the same group chat with insert.
You make a screenshot, Mom, I made it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like Fivos Delivorias was in that group chat.
Wow.
Yeah. Rubos was in that that group chat. I was like, okay, those people are people, and I'm here.
For people,
Anyway,
foreigners who don't know, they are some pretty famous Greek people. Like Fifos Delivorias is a famous Greek music artist. Rubos is another comic book artist. But yeah, please continue with the story.
so we had like our first like connection back then, and we had some talks and stuff like that. And then at some point he just called me. He's like, I want to make a game. I was like, okay, what kind of game do you want to make? I want to make a game because I was thinking of a huge artwork, and I don't think there's a good way to pretty much present it to people. And I think the best way I could like possibly present it is through a game. Okay, well, what's it about? It's like it's about hidden cats in an orgy. Would you have any problems in doing that? I was like, no, let's do that. It sounds great. As I said, experimental, totally out of left blue, totally different to anything else we've done. And just because like Elias is great, like a huge artist, and he did everything. Like it's a huge scene, over 300 people, over 100 cats. It's in a 3-story building, like with very different areas, stuff like that. He did everything by hand with pencil and paper. He did like this huge piece of artwork. He's actually selling that. If anyone is interested, to look that up and like buy the original. And then he went and scanned it and did all the coloring on digital. But he did all the pen work on all the line art by hand. It's insane. He finished it. The fun thing is because we had like a lot of things going on. I was the bottleneck there. He finished the artwork faster than we actually made the game. But it should have been like a 6-month tops project. Took about a year to finish. Yeah, we didn't kind of promote it or say anything about it because it's like it's not a porn game by the sense of no, it's not pornographic by the sense of oh, it's there for whatever reason porn exists. It's still though a very adult game. It features sex heavily in many ways, many different forms, many different combinations of people and sexualities and genders and pretty much everything you can everything consensual you can think about, like it's somewhere in that painting. It's very hard to promote an adult game. Like, what do you do? Where do you post? Like social media, it's very hard to do it. It's like you have to censor everything, and then it's weird. That's the main reason you didn't see anything before that. Right? we first wanted to have it out there and then just redirect people there directly, and they could judge for themselves or whatever. It was a great experience, though. It was very nice experience making it, and it was very fun to work with Elias and see like amazing art. Like, I don't have words about it.
As a gamer, I always find hidden object games a bit simple, let's say. But from a creative perspective, like programming perspective and all that, how did you find it in comparison to all your other projects?
It was very simple. It was one of the simplest things we've ever done. But you have to do like a few things to make it a little bit more, not boring necessarily, to make it feel a bit more interesting. But the plan for the game was from day one that it was a way for people to actually see that piece of drawing and actually examine it in more detail. It was very, very smart of Elias to think like that, because he thought like, okay, you can do a print, but no one is gonna go to the print and just like look at it pixel by pixel and see all the cool details and all the Easter eggs and all everything, because he hides a lot of stuff in his art. So he was like, okay, how do we make people actually examine the art? He was like, we hide stuff in it. We'll hide cuts in it, because people do that. Like, the hidden cut genre apparently exists.
Yeah.
On Steam, there are like hundreds of hidden cuts games. We are the only adult hidden cut game, so we do have that going for us.
You kind of touched upon my next question here.
Yeah.
There is a really active market about hidden object games in general, and as you said, the hidden cuts game. Since your company, from the two games you've already released, actually the one game you've released by yourself, Basilisks and Basilisks, and the one that you are currently working on, Next Soul Please, that we'll talk about, you are a heavily artistic, have art in your games, 2D art in particular. With this experience of a hidden object type of game, did Hidden Hijinks provide you any context on why you would like or not like to create such type of games as your main focus, perhaps? Because I've seen some other indies, of course, outside of Greece, that have made this hidden object game their thing. Only those types of games, yes.
There's also a Greek studio that's done a couple, 2 or 3 games in the hidden cuts genre as well. Gemcraft games, if you want, check them out, people. If you like hidden cuts, Gemcraft does a lot. If you like hidden cuts and sex, you can check our own. So,
what about your? This is kind of like the post-mortem of Hidden Hijinks as well. I'm melding them both, but to a question: after this game, do you think you'll ever create another game of that sort or not? And
yeah, I think we might. And actually, I'd like to work with Elias or other comic artists again to do something like that. Like, because it's a good way to enable artists and give them access to a new medium they can't access themselves, right? I wouldn't do it fully with my artists, because with the artists in the team, because I think they won't get the same enjoyment from it as doing something different. And in general, I wouldn't want to like only make these kinds of games, because as I said, like, we are a lot of very experimental, so we like doing weird stuff and we like to do different stuff from every time. Like, have some in the future, if we're building a brand, I would like people to think of eNVy games like games that are good, nice to look at, sure, but other than that, I'd like them to just think that there could be anything, pretty much anything that's just like interesting, crazy, have a stupid like premise or a stupid mechanic or whatever. That's like the goal here. So I wouldn't want to limit ourselves in a particular genre. The only reason I would do I can think of doing that is because it's a good source, I guess, of passive revenue. It's very fast, very easy to do games like that, right? We could I don't know, get 3 games of that level. Now that we actually made one, we have all the mechanics pretty much ready. So it's only about art. So we could have a game like that out every 3 months or something. If we had
That's
an
why
art.
I'm asking, because from another studio I've seen in the past, I think it was also covered by PC Gamer at some point, or Kotaku, I don't remember. But essentially, the premise of the article was that they have managed over COVID to create some passive tools that legitimately make them just pop in the art, and it creates all the sub mechanics, all the hidden object stuff really quickly. And they have created I think only this year they have popped out 5 or even more games. It's really weird. They only focus on the art, presumably. At the time I did the research because somebody brought it up my attention. I was like, this is an AI game for sure. And then I found out, it might not be. So that's why I was wondering, since you mentioned from the start that one of your aims would be to find some quicker way to create smaller games and that fit the bill in some aspects, and whether you were wondering about it.
But it's not. I get it. I get what you're saying, and it's probably a way to generate revenue, but it's not the way I'd like to go with.
And
but again,
yeah.
If we find a similar opportunities, and we've already discussed a few ideas with Elias to do something more in the future, and he's pretty open. He wants to do more things like that. We might actually do it. Not necessarily adult next time, but still on the same idea of hidden object games with big pieces of art. Maybe collaborate with other people as well, open it up and work with other comic artists. It's I like working with a lot of people also. That's also a thing we do. We like collaborating with people all over the place when we can. And we're not a very closed company. We don't think of ourselves oh yeah, that's our thing and we don't want to share it. No, half of the fun is meeting people, working together and sharing stuff, right?
Yeah, that's why we stick together. And when did Next Soul Please start becoming an idea? Was it, if I remember correctly, in my timeline, in my head, you already were somehow working on this while you did the Hidden Hijinks, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right. And Hidden Hijinks happened in between. So we started 2 years ago, I think.
I remember a hidden spreadsheet or presentation that you sent me at some point to me and some other creators or friends to just give you some feedback. So I think it was around early. Actually, no.
Yeah.
I think it was late 2024. Yes.
It was the start of 2024 when we started working on it. Yeah, because we've already but we had a totally different art style, different name. It was called Elevator Down back then. Now it's Next Soul Please. We had different artists working on it, but essentially it was the same thing, same core idea, same mechanics, same narrative, pretty much. So I got that idea during the Global Game Jam of 2024. I don't know why. Had nothing to do with the theme. But I got that idea then. And then I started thinking of how fast we can do this.
Can you talk a bit about the idea itself?
Yes. So you are a bureaucrat between heaven and hell. That's the best way I can explain it. It's a combination of Papers, Please, The Good Place, if you've seen the series or read the book, which is about the afterlife, and then maybe Tavern Talk or Coffee Talk, a more cozy, romancy, a personal story kind of game. So it has a few elements of from here, a few elements from there. But the general idea is that you are an employee in the afterlife and you judge souls and decide who goes up and who goes down. And there are a lot of things happening in the background which don't necessarily concern you, but the fate of the world might or might not be at stake, and you might or might not be able to do something about it. And you can also date the Grim Reaper, so that's also a thing you can do in this game, because as I said, we don't know where to stop when we're experimenting. Like, yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll do that. So yeah, that's pretty much the
Is it only the Grim Reaper, or do we have
it's
options?
not only the Grim Reaper. There are
Yes.
a few possible options, but the Grim Reaper is one of them.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. There are at least 3 for now.
Ooh. For now, until you decide, oh, it needs to be bigger.
Yeah. I think we have an idea for a 4th one. So might happen, but no more than that. No more. It's fine.
Okay.
4 love interests are okay. In a game that's not about. It's not a dating simulator, so for 4.
So you've been working already on this, even though through the other alias by the start of 2024. So it's been already worked on for 2.5 years in some capacity.
Yeah, 2 years.
Do you have a release date, or at what stage are you right now with this game?
So I think we can. So again, our main problem so far was funding, again, as always. So the main reason it took us so much to actually bring it to the place it is we didn't have enough money to actually, work for a solid year, all hands on deck, just do that, and then release the game. Yay. We didn't have the capacity because we didn't have the money. And we had to do other odd jobs, and et cetera, et cetera. And then here we are 2 years later, and the game is not finished yet. It could have been finished in 1 year or a year and a half, I think. It could have been if we had the focus we needed. So currently, I think we'll finish by. The plan is to release around Halloween. That's the plan.
So 2026, let's say.
Yeah, that's 2026, Q4 2026. After the Steam Next Fest, our plan is to take part in the Steam Next Fest before Halloween in October 2026. Probably get a demo out there in June this year, like in 2 months. Get a public demo out there in 2 months, and then let's see what happens.
So it is in the latter stages, essentially.
Yes. Mechanically, it's 70% done. Then art-wise, it's maybe even more than 70%. And then our main thing that's back is the story, the narrative thing. We do have we work with a narrative designer / writer, but we don't do that. We're not working in a full-time basis with him, so takes a little bit more time. And but we are in a very nice spot right now, and there's a trailer we're working on to pretty much re-announce the game, because we've announced it 2 years ago, and it was a totally different name, totally different art style, so people won't really recognize it. So we're going to do an announcement again with a new name, the new art style, and hopefully we'll do that by the end of the month, hopefully. We're planning a little earlier than that, the end of April, planning a little earlier than that, but we didn't because of some major developments and some job work that we had to do, and yeah.
For the listeners, this interview is being recorded around a month earlier, so that it's released. So the trailer might have been out already at the time. So links to all the socials of eNVy Softworks will be linked, as always, on the descriptions, so you can check it out. And there is also already a Steam page for it for the past year, if not more.
Yes,
you can wishlist. Yeah, so I assume. Yeah, and I assume the trailer will be also part of the Steam page as well, so you can check it out there.
Even the screenshots we have on the Steam page are very old. We have changed a lot of things, updated a lot of things. But go there, wishlist, and I promise we will give you good things soon.
You need to remove your programmer PR hat and get your other PR hat, public relations, to update the Steam page.
I've been doing a lot of TikTok posts as well lately. So
yeah, I've seen them on Instagram, but I've seen them.
Insta as well. Like, I've been doing the whole like TikTok influencer thing. It's not working out, but I keep on hearing it's about persistence and about doing it and showing up. It's not about like
yeah, of course, like the classic story of the people who was a boatman, but he did it every day, so he ended up having a fleet of boats.
Yes, exactly.
That's how it works.
That's what I'm doing here. I'm doing it every day until I get the fleet of boats, hopefully. Until I get to like tired and have to actually like find money to hire someone to do it, because like it's not like it's a full-time job, right?
I did that once, or actually twice, when I tried to promote a giveaway from my blog to assist in the fires that happened in Greece a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I've never felt more in my life like I've been working two jobs. I finished my job in the morning to do a second job, PR work for this event, almost full time afterwards. It was tiresome.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And if you don't have it in you, if it's not necessarily what you like doing, it's worse. It's one of the worst things you can do. Like
exactly. Before we finish this interview, I'd like to have a small segment to talk about the Game Dev Association of Greece. You've been a part of it, I think, since the beginning, however many years ago now. Can you talk a bit about this, and as well as how you see game dev in Greece over the years?
So I've been a member of the Game Developers Association of Greece since day zero, like day -1 even. I was in the like first talks with game developers about like starting an association, and then I was in the funding members, and then I actually was in the group that was preparing to call people to become funding members, and then I was in the funding members, and then I was in the first board of directors, and I've been like from the interim board of directors all the way to now. I'm been consistently in the board of directors 7-8 years or something now. It's been a while. It was 2019, I think, when we started. So 7 years, let's say. Before COVID, during COVID, there was a fire that actually made things go slower. About some, I'm not sure how it's called in English, but like some building with a lot of important contracts and stuff caught on fire, and that delayed the founding of the association by like 6 months or something. It was insane. almost a meme. But yeah, I've been around for a while. So, and even before that, I've been a part of the industry in Greece. I was like, as I said, I've been running the Global Game Jam in Patras for 10 years, 11 years now, even before I had the company. I first came in contact with the other game developers in Greece in 2013, I think 2014, in a game jam in Athens, in Marousi, in the G Cluster game jam. Well, that was great. And from day one, like I really liked the energy I was seeing, and really liked how talented actually people are in Greece. And the more I got into game development, the more I got into the business side of it, and the more I got into the actually, actively being a businessman and a creator and an artist, let's say, at the same time, the more I realized how bad things are here compared to how good things can be, right? And how hard it is for a lot of people to actually do what they want. So, as a member of the association and as a founding member of the association, the main reason I wanted to be there and help, like whenever I'm asked, I say that the reason we exist is so that anyone that actually wants to make games in Greece will be able to do so and survive. That's my goal as part of the association. I want to help establish an industry in this country that doesn't necessarily makes you rich. Maybe it has the potential to, but if you want to do it, if you want to have like a career in game development, you can do it here without having to go out or to go abroad or get remote work for some English company or whatever. And the more time passes, the more I feel vindicated. I feel that I'm right to trust the game developers of Greece. I see more and more good games coming out from here. I see more and more studios that have the potential to make great things. I see more and more extremely talented people doing their thing. I honestly believe that if we manage to get the government, which we already have done a lot of work towards convincing the government of how important this industry is and how important it can be for the economy of the country, because that's a big thing. But in general, all of the costs stay within the country, and all of the money all the revenue comes from outside the country. So it's by default a net positive for the economy. Every euro spent for someone to buy hidden hijinks, no cuts in the order, please, is a euro added to the gross domestic product of Greece.
And how do you think the other developers in Greece are right now? How do you see the small industry, for a lack of a better word, because it's not an industry, honestly?
So things are rough. Okay, let's start from saying it as it is. We don't have to lie about things. The economy currently is in one of the worst states it's been ever. Who suffers from that? Usually those that are not necessarily a necessity for the economy to run. Artists, for example, and I will keep on referring to game developers as artists. That's what we are. Games are an art form. Anyone that disagrees does not know what he's talking about.
No, I completely agree, because my normal job is in the digital sector.
Mhm.
But from what I've heard from a couple of friends who do work for big video game companies that are again considered digital sector, we get the same shit, pardon my language, but I don't get told that, oh yeah, you're an artist, you're living your dream, and that to be used against me. They do.
Absolutely. That's our main problem here, and then it's funny because that's what the big publishers use to get you to sign bad deals, right? They're all like, oh yeah, obviously you get to make the game you want, right? So obviously you hand 80% of it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the what's called the happiness of working to the game for the game you want. It's like, dude, what? What are you talking about? Would you go to a plumber and say that to him? Like, oh yeah, you get the happiness of fixing my pipes, right?
Yeah.
So I'll pay you less. Anyway, but we are artists, and we are actually advancing the modern culture of the country and of any country that games are being made. So we're part of a modern cultural zeitgeist, right? We are contributing to it some way or another. We are, and the thing is that we have incredible artists in Greece, even if that's like a 3D artist or it's a game designer, it's a writer, or even a programmer. At some points, when it comes to games, sometimes even programmers can be artists. In the way they decide to implement specific things and in the way they can make games feel. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of successful studios. And we don't when I say successful, I don't mean big thing like CD Projekt Red kind of AAA or we have. No, when I say successful, I mean studios that manage to survive solely by making games. That's the bar. It's extremely low. it's like a stupidly low bar to actually only make money doing the thing your company is supposed to do, right? But it's a bar we have to cross if we want to start talking about having an actual games industry. And to cross it, three things are needed in general for every industry. One of them is education. We need more universities, private, public, I don't care, but solid universities that can actually pump out talent, specialized talent for the industry. We do have great schools, great universities in Greece, but you get out programmers or computer engineers or architects or whatever. But we lack understanding of game design. We lack understanding of game production. We lack understanding of factors that are absolutely necessary to make games, even though we have very well-read people. Then you need public funds and public support. You need the government to get behind it, because if you want to build an industry in a country, you can't have the government looking the other way and whistling, And then the third one is private equity, private money, private capital getting into the industry. That could be from outside Greece, and we have some examples of people getting funding, but still in the place of as publishing deals, which is not exactly funding. But we have some examples of people that have actual money in Greece starting to get into games and starting investing in the industry slowly but steadily. So I think we're making progress in all three fronts, but until we see them actually work together and interacting as they should, we won't have a healthy industry yet. We might have a few breakout studios or a few breakout games, but for me, our goal is simple. It's to have new indie studios starting out every year, new games coming out every month, and then having studios also grow or shrink or be able to fail without it being a huge problem for them. Let them fail and help them start again. So currently we have I don't know, I'd say 4 probably, if I'm being generous, studios that actually make enough money to sustain themselves through games in Greece, which is not a huge number, right? But we do have more studios that make games and continue on trying and making it out there. But in these 4 studios, my studio is not one of them, right? I've been running the studio for 9 years, and still I haven't solved the equation of how to survive in the Greek economy. We're still in I'll have to take this job and take this job in order to make it another year. So hopefully we release a game that hopefully will get us a little bit more money. So we have to get less jobs next year and stuff like that.
We had the second episode of the podcast with Traptics, and we were and even when I am knowledgeable of indie games for years, and I was trying to find out about Greeks, Traptics was one of the first, as I told him as well, that I ever learned about, and that was however many years ago, perhaps even dating back to 2014, 2013, something like that.
They're over 10 years around. Yeah, they've been around for over 10 years. I think 13 years, 14 years, something like that.
Yeah, but I knew of them from... and I am a person who tries to dig deeper, so I'm not the vast majority of the population who even just plays video games. So I didn't know anybody else. But now, just over the past... let's say over the next 12-month period, something like that, they released their newest game, Xenopurge. You are about, hopefully, to release your new game. And I still have in my eyes at least one, if not more, that I forget right now, Greek indie games that are in the process of being created. The one I'm thinking of right now is from TerraHard Studios, the Dunebound Tactics, I think it's called.
Dunebound Tactics. I don't know about Monster Mop-Up, I'm not sure. It's released already?
I think it was released, yes, but it wasn't my cup of tea, so Dunebound Tactics is way more up my alley, so I'm looking out for that. But for years I was okay, just to have one from Greece that I vibe with, and Actually, just for it to come out, not even for me to vibe up with, was a challenge. So now to have like 3 over a, let's say, 12-month period, hopefully, or even more,
It's actually
games
more
come out.
because for the past 5 years, I think at least since we've started kind of keeping track with the association, there is about a game released each month. So we have like around 12 games a year in Greece. Well, not necessarily good games or not necessarily games you'd enjoy, but like, no, I mean, you personally enjoy, but there are 12 games. There is one.
And I've
This
been
year-
over the past 2 years part of the Greek Game Awards that we've been that we hosted. So that also helped me try out even some stuff that I had missed.
Yeah,
and
we have the Hellenic Game Awards, the Greek Game Awards.
Hellenic Games, yes.
Yeah, that are also a great thing about like new people that and to discovering also games in Greece. People like, oh, what you've made this year? Oh, so you made this thing, right? Nice. Why haven't we heard about it until the awards?
Exactly. And that's all. That always comes to my mind. Like I've said before, I am one of the few people that actively look out for it. And if I can't find it, I can't expect anybody else to even know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Marketing is hard. Marketing is expensive. Like that's the main problem. But back to saying about games. This year already we had Selini finally going into early access.
Oh, yes.
10 years after the start of development. Crimson Capes also releasing.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, 2 games.
And I need to try it out. I have covered the previous one.
Then we have probably Dragonis with Necrophasis.
Oh, the updated versions, yes.
DLC, the new release, a new version for consoles, physical release that contains both Necrophasis and the Shore.
The Shore.
A good deal with publisher during that, like both for porting and then both for distribution across consoles. And then we have like hopefully Excel plays. Hopefully by the end of the year, the guys from Thessaloniki on Skal are also releasing the game probably this month or the next month, called Alchemist: Journey to the Soul. Looks great, puzzle game, first person, 3D. Looks insane. All of they are probably one of my favorite studios in Greece, mostly because they've managed to pretty much pop out games like that. They're just like game after game after game after game. They've made like 14 games or something like that.
eNVy games as well. I think they are somehow finalizing their first-person horror game.
Yeah, I think Haunted Bloodlines might also be coming out this year. So like we might have at least 6 above average, like I'm underselling here, vastly underselling, but I'd say good. I'd say above good releases.
I mean, especially over the past year, if you check really quickly, just for the research I did for your games for today, Basements and Basilisks and Hidden Hijinks, okay, they don't have many reviews because they haven't sold an insane amount of numbers, but they are still sitting at a healthy above 80% in Steam reviews. That's not easy to keep if the game is not worth it.
I think it's close to 90. Hidden Hijinks, I think, is over 90, and B&B is like 89 or something like that.
Hidden Hijinks is such a deep cut that I think I saw it was like a 98%, something like that. Yeah, it's 98. But even like Xenopurge also was, when we had the interview, it was around 90%. Now it has fallen a bit, but it's still like 86%, nothing to gloss over.
Yeah, those are great numbers. Like it's, shows people like it. And still, we may have like small like sales numbers, but it's still in the thousands. I mean, there's thousands of people that play the games and like them. So, it's not. We live in an era that 1,000 doesn't sound like a big number with views on YouTube and stuff like that, but still 1,000 people. I don't know if I've met 1,000 people.
No, for sure. I remember one of the podcasters I follow about a football team. He talked about his YouTube channel being of small numbers of around 60,000, which for YouTube it's small. And then he recontextualized it like, no, but our football stadium holds just this number. So it's like me being in the middle of this football stadium and being full capacity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to end at this high note, where do people can follow you for news about Nexol, please, and all your TikTok shenanigans?
You can follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. That's where we're most active these days. You can also follow us on Steam. I guess you can do that these days, but we don't post reels there, so it's not that fun. So I'd say TikTok or Instagram is your best
place to follow.
Yeah, your best way forward. It's eNVy Softworks, both of it. Or if you search Nexol, please, I think you'll find us on TikTok as well. But yeah, we'd prefer a wish list. That would be really helpful. But a follow as well if you want to learn more about the games. And again, even if I've been a bit pessimistic about the industry, the truth is great games are coming out of Greece, and more of them will come. And we're doing major steps into getting the government to understand how important this industry can be and to help the games coming out from Greece. And there might be an announcement pretty soon, maybe even before the podcast goes live, right? About a few interesting things coming in the future of the game development industry in Greece. So stay tuned in general. And I'm sure you'll see some great games coming out in 2026 and even greater games in 2027 and beyond.
Yeah, and I just realized we didn't even chat about the whole Gamescom thing that always send for the past however many years now. We have a dedicated Greek
booth.
A Greek booth.
Pavilion, maybe even. And pavilion sounds larger. It's not this year, largest ever. I think we're going to have 80 square meters.
Oof.
Yeah.
Like my house.
Yeah, it's pretty much a house, but for 10 games, showcase, the open call just went out 2 days ago. It's going to be open until the 11th of May. If it's not the 11th of May yet, and you have a game, just go and register. You might be able to get into Gamescom, show your game to people, find publishers, find investors, hopefully, to fund your games and get some wish lists, right? We've been doing this for 5 years now. It's the 5th year in a row that we have a dedicated Greek delegation in the largest game development conference / expo in the world. So, Greece is getting on the map slowly, steadily, with the help of the government, obviously. And that's insane, right? We didn't have that 6 years ago.
I remember growing up reading Computer Games Magazine, a Greek magazine about games that later I found out it might contain translated articles from its English counterpart. But I remember reading way back when, 20 years ago now, about Thesis, the first Greek video game that went, I think, to E3 at the time, and the only one. Yeah. So having such a big and active and continuous presence to these big events is a real game changer in my books.
Yeah, 10 games. 10 games every year. For the past 3 years, it's 10 games a year. 10. It's a number.
Yeah. It's double digits. Yeah. It's always fun chatting with you, but I think we need to close it now. Thank you very much for joining us today, and see you everybody on the next Into the Indies podcast. Take care, everybody.
Bye.